All right, my name is Ethan Shippert, and we're here today at the Gearbox Corner of Shippert Racing Services with my sons Noah and Lucas, and they want to learn a little bit about what we call gearboxes, transaxles, that we do in-house here at Shippert Racing Services for both our in-house clients and also for our for people who want their gearbox transmission built. Um, to a higher level maybe than what it's currently at. Boys, what would you like to learn about?
What are these things?
Okay, well, this is two different transaxles here. Okay, Bub, this is called a Hewland Mark Box. Okay, um, these are all based off of a Volkswagen case. These are used mostly in Formula Fords, but in period, this was actually designed to be a Formula One gearbox in the early '60s. So they're very small, very lightweight. Usually they're either 4 or 5 speeds. Um, they most of them use a magnesium Volkswagen case, but some of them use an aluminum Volkswagen case. And depending on what the application is, they'll either be 4 or 5 speeds, open diff, limited slip diff, things like that. This gearbox, which is complete, this is called an LG, which stands for large gearbox. LG. This is for a Can-Am car, okay, for a McLaren, and this is an LG 500, which means it's 4 speeds. It's a big gnarly thing, and it's capable of taking care of a lot of horsepower and a lot of tire. So that's what we have here. So, Lucas, what would you like to know?
Why is one bigger than the other?
Well, that's a good question, Lukey. So this one's bigger because it's meant to handle more horsepower. So this is for a smaller car like a Formula Ford, like a little car that has maybe 100, maybe 150 horsepower. You can maybe take as much as I think these will take like 175 foot-pounds of torque. This gearbox for a big gnarly V8, like a big block Chevy, make like 500 or 600 horsepower, or maybe more. Sometimes as much as 700 or 800 horsepower, and a lot of torque. So that's why it's bigger, because it's meant to take on more power and torque and more tire. So, what else? What else would you want to know?
Um, why, why there's like zip ties on them?
Oh, the zip ties? Well, so these are stub axles. So this is the outboard drive flange, okay? This is where, when the horsepower comes in, it runs in through the input shaft, runs back here to the lay shaft, which of course is not here. This is the lay shaft right here. Or sorry, that's the input shaft right here. Okay? Input shaft comes out of the back of the clutch, which is splined right here to the back of the clutch. Turns this, which turns the lay shaft right here, which then turns the gears, which turns the hubs. And then as that turns the pinion, which turns the crown wheel, which basically makes the drive flanges rotate here. So I put zip ties on them to hold the hardware when I go to push the stub axles, which are these pieces. When I go to push them into the side covers, the zip ties are just there to hold the bolts from gouging up the side covers, because we put a lot of effort into making them look nice when we're putting them together, and we want them to look nice for a long time. So that's what the orange zip ties are all about. So, Lukey, what else would you like to know?
What cars are they for?
Oh, well, like I said, this one's for a Formula Ford. This one's actually for Blanche. It's for our Formula Ford. This is our family car, our family Crosley, and this one is for a Can-Am car. It's for a McLaren Can-Am car. And every gearbox that gets built here by SRS gets one of these cool little tags. I don't know if we can get our camera to zoom in here on that at all, but gets a little tag. It has has our logo on it, and a serial number that gets a whatever the serial number is for the gearbox that we build them. So that's a nice little detail that lets people know the gearbox is built here in house. We take a lot of pride in what we're doing as far as transaxle work goes. The transaxle is sort of the unsung part of the race car. Everybody wants to know how much horsepower the car has, or how big the tires are, but nobody ever pays any attention to the transaxle. But it really makes a big difference in how fast the race car goes.
What does this thing do?
That's the pinion. So that is the part that drives the crown wheel, which then turns the wheels forward. So this is where all the power goes through these little hubs right here. Okay, Lukey, what else? Anything else? Are we done?
How long does it take to build it?
That's a good question, Luke. So it depends on the transmission and the situation, the condition that it comes in. Okay, so if it comes in and it's in good shape, and I'm taking it apart and I'm going through it, and we're just putting in new seals and cleaning things up, new bearings and things like that, a day, a couple of days. But if it's a complete build, if the thing's completely smashed and it needs a new case, this is a new FG case here. So this is like for a Formula One car. So if I was going to start with something like this and build this up from nothing, it takes about 40 to 45 hours to build that from nothing. Okay, so that's about a week of shop time, maybe a little bit more. And then there's other things you can do as well, boys. You can take parts like this. This is called the carrier. Okay, this is the bearing carrier. This goes on the back here of the gearbox, like that. Okay, this is the part where all the gears are held. All right. Sometimes people can send you just this. We can do just this one part, and just do this one part. And this is the part where, as a driver, when you're shifting the gears, this is where the shift rails go. Okay, and so we'll take these and we'll church them up to where they go in the bores nice and smooth, and everything moves nice and easily, and make that all work really good. So sometimes we do just a carrier. A carrier could take maybe a day to do one of those, change the bearings and church up the, sleeve the bore, the rail bores and things like that, or whatever. But yeah, I'd say generally about a week to do a complete gearbox build and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of it depends too, boys, on how dirty it shows up. You know how sometimes, Noah, how sometimes your brother at the end of the day is pretty dirty? Lukey? Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes, how we got to hose him off? Same sort of thing, right? If somebody sends in a gearbox, it's a complete mess. Well, it's going to take me a lot longer to get it cleaned up before I start on it. So, yeah, exactly. I got to take it and hose it off, just like we do with you, Lukey. Okay?
How do you shift them?
How do you shift them? Well, okay, so you have this piece. Okay, it's called the selector finger. All right, but people call this a hockey stick. You know why they call this a hockey stick? Looks like a hockey stick, okay? So when you're moving the shifter left and right in the car, the hockey stick lives right here on this gearbox, okay? Comes right in the top here. Lukey, come around this side. Okay, comes right in here, okay? And you hear it, clickety-clacky, okay? On a mark box like this, it lives right down here, okay? Same sort of thing. So as you move the shifter left and right, it moves left and right, okay? And then as it moves forward and aft, it moves these things. These are the shift rails, and they live in these little bores right here. Like that. And so as you move the shifter backwards and forwards, these guys move forwards and backwards, and they move the forks, which live on the end here, and that's what makes the gearbox shift. So, okay? All right. All right, boys. Thank you very much for your questions today. Did you have fun?
Yeah.
Good.